Well, we should have a drum roll now because he's here. We've been training you all morning. The very famous, even I've heard of Monty Panesar. And Monty, you know what I know about cricket. I can write on the back of a postage stamp that's been shrunk 3 times. But I know you're one of our most successful spinners. You're giving up a life of sport and glamour for the grind of politics. What's possessed you?
Well, I think, the simple reason is, like, I want to, be the voice for the, ordinary people, in Britain and be the voice for them, really. And it's something that really excites me, and I feel I can make a difference.
How did this come about, and why George Galloway's party, when presumably you could have probably, with your celebrity status, gone to any of the main parties and been accepted? Yeah,
because I think when they approached me, they said, do you want to go for the South or Ealing, constituency? And I think the reason I did it, because I was a radio presenter on Punjab radio for a couple of years, so I got to know the area really well. The people know me really well there.
Is that based there? It's not based in Punjab.
No, it's based in Southall, but it's called Punjab Radio. Yeah. So actually, it's funny enough, everyone around globally tunes into Punjab Radio because of the name, and I got to know the area really well, like I said, and then I studied, sports journalism just close by at St Mary's University. I played a couple of years of club cricket at, Twickenham Cricket Club, so I got to know the area really well. The people know me, really well there, and I thought, hopefully I can make a difference.
Now, of course, back in which mayoral election, 2016, you backed Zach Goldsmith, of course, for the mayoral election. He was a Tory, a right-wing Tory, a Brexiteer, very rich, and here you are standing for the Workers' Party, which is at the opposite end of the spectrum of the billionaire's son, Zach Goldsmith.
Yeah, look, I think the reason being, since that time, going forward now in 2024, I just feel that there's a massive gap between the rich and the poor, and like I said, the working class people, the workers of Britain, their voices are not actually being heard, and our party, hopefully we get a few people winning seats, then we can be that voice in Parliament for them, because the high interest rate, the cost of living crisis, it's difficult for them.
You don't feel like those people are represented by Labour anymore?
I don't think so. I think Labour and Tory are the same party. That's just dovetailing against each other, in my sort of opinion. So that's why do we have the Reform Party, which is going to hopefully take a few of the Tory seats, and with the Labour we've got obviously our party as well. So I think the reason being is, like I said, it's the people, the vulnerable people, the people who living in vulnerable, poor areas. They just feel that their voice obviously needs to be heard, and it gives them a choice. So in the general election...
So what can you do for a working-class family in your Ealing constituency? What would be your pitch on the doorstep? Why you should vote for me and not the Labour candidate, the Labour MP who's got a majority of about 16,000? What would the Workers' Party give?
Yeah, what we can do is also, try and bring in more investment in terms of, sporting facilities, help with the social housing things as well. And what we also look to do is what we've seen at the, Gurdwara Singh Sabha. They've got obviously a neurodiversity, a project which is actually to help people with, mental disorders. And they obviously want to get me involved to develop a cricket team as well. So what I'm trying to do is branch out the community, where it's not just about, obviously, the areas, what Southall is known for. It's actually saying their voices, there's a problem with, the sporting aspect of us as well. A lot of people in the community, when I go there, they go, I want my son and daughter, to play in football, in rugby and in cricket, but we don't know where to go.
Yeah, some people are getting in touch with us this morning and saying, how important to you is the situation in Gaza and Palestine? Because that is clearly the thread that runs through George Galloway's campaign.
Yeah, look, it's a clear situation there, I think there needs to be a ceasefire there. I think they need to develop peace between Israel and Palestine. What's going on there is wrong, and we need to free Palestine, The best situation, for Palestine will be if they can develop their own economy, and then, they're free from Israel. Israel doesn't have, all this, what they're doing right now. I think it's wrong.
But have you condemned, Monty, the Hamas massacre of those Israelis back on October the 7th?
Well, what Hamas did was completely wrong. We know that, right? And I think everyone knows that. But right now, 70%, 60% of population in England want a ceasefire. And why isn't the ceasefire happening? Why aren't the Tories or the Labour Party, forcing that on the Israel government. And I think that's where, the people, our people in England are sort of thinking, maybe both of these parties are not for us. Maybe we need to go to reform. Maybe we need to come here, towards us. So I think, there is a sort of, a bit of a split.
Will you do a pact with Reform? Because arguably you would say you'd have a much stronger chance in that constituency. So why would Reform stand?
Well, I think, Reform is obviously going to stand as well to nick us, in terms of as many seats as they get. But we've already got 500 candidates, and I think we're trying to push to 650. Our party is just growing momentum. The Workers' Party is just... the momentum that we're getting is unbelievable, and I'm surprised by it as well. When I first entered, I thought it wouldn't be this big. So I think, we're going to surprise quite a few people when it comes to the general election.
Virendra Sharma's got a 16,000 majority in Ealing Southall, where you are. Can you take any bite out of that, Monty?
Well, I've got to be doing door-to-door, right? I've got to do the hard yards. I'll grab you guys as well. You guys can come with me, to do that. That'll be good, helping me along. I've got to, work hard.
As long as you taste a very nice curry afterwards, there's some very nice curry houses, and you'll know the best ones.
Absolutely. I'll promise you, we'll get Andrew and Bev walking with me. We're going to the best curry house after as well.
If we can ask you a few questions, because you're going to be asked, you're going to put on all sorts of spots, because you're representing the Workers' Party, so you will know...
We've called this quiz, by the way, Stump the Panesar.
Stump the Panesar.
OK.
Do you know the cost of a prescription in England?
I think it's about £15.
No.
£9.90.
Oh, OK.
What's the population of Ealing?
200,000.
366,000.
The living wage?
Average living wage.
Well, there's an agreed living wage.
Yeah. Right? 40,000?
No,
per hour.
Per hour. It's nothing. You've got to go a bit lower than that.
Yeah. £15.
No. 11.44. So you got some work. You got some work to do. You can get that up to £15. A lot of the voters will like.
Pint of milk from Tesco.
Oh,
I didn't know this, by the way.
I go to Tesco's quite a lot. I know the price of that. I think it's £1.10.
It could be on a bad day. It's 90p normally from Tesco, but you're not a million miles off.
Top of the Premier League.
Well, it's going to be Arsenal.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
You have to get that right.
And which of these is in the Working Party of Britain's manifesto? Is it halve government consultancy spending by bringing in proper spending controls and having a long-term staffing strategy?
No.
No, that's a Labour pledge. Is it 50,000 more police and tougher sentencing for criminals?
Yes.
No.
Oh, right.
Or is it we will fully renationalise the NHS and commit to significant spending on social and economic infrastructure and implement major efficiency savings?
All right.
Number three, for sure.
Let's ask you another question. Yeah. Do sportsmen and women translate into politics, do you think? Do you think about Seb Coe, fantastic double Olympic gold medalist, was a one-term Tory MP, then he looked after William Hague's office, didn't do particularly well. Colin Moynihan, who was an Olympic silver medalist, I think, rower, he went to Pint, didn't exactly set the place alight. Does the sporting discipline enable you to bring something special to politics?
Well, I think, this is the question I ask myself why I'm going into politics. Is one of the reasons is because when I played cricket for England, the fans and the love I got was massive, They're like, everyone knows who I am, the popularity is huge in this country. And I think by using, my popularity, hopefully I can make a difference, to the British people. And, going back to your question about more, sports people making a difference, I think they would, because I think they have a much more, they're much more in touch with, the common man on the street than some of the other politicians, who probably, are obviously, highly educated, but they don't really know what's really happening. So I could see other sports people in the future. This could be the new trend where we see, more sports people who have a huge following to think, I want to make a difference, in my area, and I want to make a difference to my country.
And there won't be, if you win, there won't be many Sikhs in Parliament.
No, there won't. There won't be many Sikhs, and if I do win, I'll definitely bring some samosas, and I'll see you in Parliament. We'll definitely have that.
I'm just interested to know again why this particular party, because knowing how desperate political parties are for people like you to be involved, I'm still quite fascinated by the choice of party. You could have waltzed into any of them, Monty. Yeah,
I think the real choice is that, to be honest, I just looked at it and I thought, I feel there's a massive gap, between the rich and the poor, and we need to now, recalibrate that, where the power is shifted towards more to the, the working people of Britain, and I just feel that, as we have seen.
But is that by taxing the rich? Is that by taking? Because you've obviously done very well in your life. You're a successful man. Would you pay more tax in order to provide more money to people who might be on benefits or need more support from the state?
Well, look, one thing I like to introduce, obviously, wealth tax, and anyone who has over, £10 million of estate, 5% one-off tax. So there'll be some of my cricket mates who won't be happy to hear this because they're obviously very wealthy.
Which ones?
Well,
shame them.
There's a few of them, who are knighted right now. I reckon they'll be worth over, 10 million.
Yeah.
And I think James Anderson, he'll be knighted as well, as we all know.
How do your family feel about all of this? What's your background? Like, where's this need to help the less well-off come from?
I think it's just come from, obviously my family. They when they came into the country, they...
Remind us where they came from, Monty.
Yeah, they came from India, and then when they were here, they worked in, my dad worked in a Vauxhall factory, my mum, worked in, obviously laundrette factory. So they're hard-working, working-class people. So I know exactly how hard they worked. So, when I see what's happening right now with, with our country, I just feel that I could be that voice, I could be that bridging gap where actually, what's really happening to the ordinary person on the street can be heard, in Parliament.
Have we got our immigration about right, do you say? Or do you think there should be fewer people arriving here every year?
Well, I think immigration is good for our country, right? Where the Premiership is right now, we've got over 70 nationalities. That's what makes the Premiership so good, because of immigration. And, I think 25% of our workforce in the NHS is from immigration, but it's the illegal immigration that has a real issue for us. We can't protect our borders. That's one area, I would like, have more of a conversation about how do we protect our borders, how do we protect illegal migration, because they end up going to the most poorest, deprived areas, and when they're there, the resources get, strained in them areas, so it makes it even more difficult for them.
What do you think of the Rwanda boats policy? Do you think it's going to work?
I hope it scares people away.
Yeah.
I think that's probably what the idea is, and if it does, then I think it has worked.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't scare people away, then, a new policy needs to come in place.
And just lastly, George Galloway, did he call you up out of the blue and say, come and be one of my MPs? How did it just...
No, he didn't call me. It was the Leighton,
who's a mate of yours,
MP.
who's a candidate there.
Yeah, candidate there, who's a very good friend of mine, and... he called me up. He said, would you be interested in it? And when I looked into the policies and everything, I thought, yeah, why not? If I can make a difference, to Britain, to my people, then...
Are you enjoying it so far?
Yeah, absolutely love it.
Any other big names coming across to Galloway's party that you can give us even a hint about?
I don't know yet. I hope I can, drag a few more.
But are you going to be talking to some people about it? Because you know a lot of people in the
I do. And if there'll be people interested in it, and if they are keen, then, I'll love them to come and join us.
I wonder how frightened the Labour Party are.
I think they will be scared. Galloway won Rochdale. They should have walked that by-election, the Labour Party. And I know that shadow ministers who've got candidates standing against them, independent Muslims or independent people like you, Monty, independent Sikh candidates, they're very worried.
Yeah, I think they would be. I think with the momentum that's going and, for people to have choice, that's what they're going to be worried about. And they're going to think, actually, maybe we just want to come here and vote for Monty in Southall and Ealing.
Is that going to be your slogan, vote for Monty?
Yep, absolutely. I'm the only MP you can trust.
Right, Monty Panesar, great to see you. Thank you so much
see us again.
for coming in.